Dører har støttet mennesker verden over til å følge Jesus uansett kostnad i mer enn 60 år. Vi går til de vanskeligste stedene først, for å utruste den lokale kirken til å blomstre selv i møte med forfølgelse. I Sentral-Asia er det ekstremt vanskelig å følge Jesus. Etter Sovjetunionens fall i 1991 kollapset økonomien, borgerkrig brøt ut, og nye ledere stod frem og formet Sentral-Asias 5 selvstendige stater. Kazakhstan, Kirgisistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan og Tadsjikistan. I hjertet av Silkeveien grenser Sentral-Asia mot Afghanistan, Russland og Kina. Med sine revne fjell, sletter og innsjøer er Sentral-Asia vakkert og rik på naturressurser. Invadert av Genghis Khan og erobret Alexander den Store, dette er dørporten mellom Europa og Asia. Deler av området har sett år med krig og sult som har hindret utvikling, og i dag lever nesten halve befolkningen under fattigdomsgrensen. Men for kristne er livet vanskeligere. Gjennom de siste 10 årene har regionen sett en dramatisk økning av radikal islam. En kristen sa, vi har sett radikal islam vokse frem, slik som sopp vokser frem etter høstregn. Det hemmelige politiet er overalt. Alt som anses som en trussel overvåkes, inkludert den lokale kirken. I Tadsjikistan er det ulovlig å dele evangeliet med barn under 16 år. I Kazakhstan kan det å dele en bibel med noen få deg dømt for religiøs ekstremisme og satt i fengsel sammen med terrorister. I Uzbekistan møter du plakater på flyplassen med bilder av kjente misjonærer med advarsel mot å bli omvendt til kristen tro. En pastor i Sentral-Asia soner 3 års fengsel, dømt for en lovsang på datamaskinen sin. Men bak stengte dører vokser en modig undergrunnskirke. Mange av regionens pastorer ble kjent med Jesus i fengsel. De første kom til å tro på 90-tallet. Dette er en første generasjons kirke. Åpne Dører har støttet kirken i Sentral-Asia i over 30 år. Dette er en kirke som er født gjennom fengsel, fortvilelse, sult og kommunisme. Det er som å ta et steg tilbake til apostelens gjerninger og møte den første menighet som helhjertet følger Jesus, mer enn rikdom, materialisme og distraksjoner. Drevet av kjærlighet til Jesus, og av det håpet han tilbyr verden. I Sentral-Asia reiser kirken seg på tross av press og forfølgelse. Det er en kirke som vet hva det vil si å modig følge Jesus.
What have I learned from persecuted Christians? Really, I learned a lot. When I joined the ministry, I thought that I have something that I can give. And then I realized that the truth from the Bible, that you really are blessed when you give rather than when you receive, means that when you give what you have, you get what you need. And when I entered the Central Asia, trying to give them something, I got what I really needed. I learned the lesson that I read about that lesson in the Bible, but I didn't understand it. God teaches us that we should love our neighbors, and then we can love Him. And in Central Asia, I saw what it really means to love your neighbors. I want to share with you a story about one man who grew up as an abandoned child. He lost his father when he was 6. His mother started to drink a lot, so he spent all his life in the street, trying to survive, stealing, and at very, very early age he got into a prison. In the prison he found Jesus just simply reading the New Testament, and as he says, he got the desire to serve. And the only way that he found for him to serve was to preach Christ to those who are nearby. In those days it was a civil war in the country and people were starving till death, and a lot of them were dying daily. As he says, 20, 30 people would die every day. So he and his friend, they started to go to those who are going to die, and they started to read the gospel to them. And they not only were reading gospel to them, they were offering them the bread. they started to fast and share their small loaf of bread that they would have for a day with those who are going to die tomorrow. And I can tell you that through his ministry that he continued later with those people, with those criminals who would accept Christ in prison and survived, many worldwide known preachers appeared. Many bishops and pastors are now serving in the area of Central Asia, just because of this one man who decided to serve to those who are dying, showing them love. When the man was released from the prison, he got another burden on his heart, the burden for children, because God, as he says, reminded him how he suffered when he was a child. And he really got a desperate desire to do something for children, to help them to escape the sufferings that he has gone through. In those days, we met him and we, as a ministry, started to help him. We understand that he needs a profession, because all his life he was just stealing or sitting in the prison and preaching in the prison. But when he was released, there was no one who would take care for him. And he started a small business. And just by God's grace, he became really successful in it. And he didn't become rich, because all the money that he was making, he started to invest in the children whom he was finding in the streets. And it's so interesting what he's doing. He always goes beyond his capacity. He always takes more children than he can feed in, because he says, I cannot leave them. And he goes to the places where prostitutes are working. And usually in those places, the children are living together with them, and he takes them away and he takes them to his home and he washes them and he gives them food. He arranges documents for them, because all those children, they don't have documents. So officially they don't have any right even to go to school. And this guy has such a big heart. And I can tell you that within several years of his ministry, already 300 children have grown up. I saw those kids who are adults now. He calls them my sons. And those sons now are leading small groups and churches. I've been to one of such church. And at that church, another lesson that is about the same topic, but kind of reinforcing everything that has been said to me before. I was in a church that consists of children whose mothers are prostitutes, and the prostitutes who changed their life and gave their life to Christ. And it was such a wonderful community. Actually, this church has been established by the children who accepted Christ first and now they are grown up, and they continue what this guy is doing, going, saving the others. And in that church, it was a secret church, because the church cannot meet officially and cannot teach children officially, so it was a secret meeting. And we were sitting there, and there was one girl who was reading a wonderful piece of poetry about Christ. She was nicely dressed. She was smiling, shining, because she was speaking about the love of Jesus. And this man, he told me that her name is Treasure. And then he continued that now the Treasure will go home, because she is living with her mom, who is a working prostitute, together with few other prostitutes who are living in a one-room apartment. And she will be sitting there watching her mom working. And you know, it's just a matter of time when another client will look at Treasure and prefer her over her mom. And then I understand the real meaning of the word treasure. Because if you look into a dictionary, there is no such definition that a girl is a treasure. But for this guy, who spends all his money, all his life, trying to save children like Treasure, they are really a treasure. And when this guy is telling me that he loves God, I truly believe him. And when this man tells me that he is really in despair, because there are so many kids whom he cannot help, and there are so few workers who can stand next to him doing what he's doing now, I really ask a question to myself. What is a treasure for me? What is a treasure for me? And how can I help him? Every time he sends me a letter, he asks for a prayer. He shares the news, how many children have been found, how many children have accepted Jesus, who is going to be baptized. But at the end, he always asks, please pray for me, because it's difficult, spiritually, physically, and mentally. He doesn't give many details, but I feel from this short sentence that it's extremely difficult to do what he's doing now. And I really want to help him. And what touches me most, he tells me in every letter that those children, they are praying for me. The treasure is praying for me. And you know, I have my own problems. I have my own desires. And something doesn't happen as I want. But it will never be like in Treasure's life. And it is she who is praying for me, not me who is praying for her daily. This is the lesson that I learned, and that challenges me a lot, and that stretches my heart and just gives me power to stand up and go further, trying to do something else, because only loving people I can learn how to love God. And I don't want to be a liar who sings wonderful songs and enjoying being saved and being loved by God and having blessings, but actually neglecting those whom God loves most. And this is the lesson that stays with me forever. And you know, there is another lesson that I have learned. All my life, I've been struggling with my calling. What is my calling? And many people trying to explain to me that maybe this is your calling, or that is your calling. And you know, the calling is something that moves you forward no matter what happens. If you have a calling, nothing can stop you doing that calling. I saw it in many different people. People who had a burden on their heart and a calling to do something, and they would do it no matter what happens. They never ask a question, would you help me? And they will never tell you that if you help me, I will do. No. First they go, and then they shout out loud to you, come, come, join me. I'm doing something great. There was a man who once got a calling to go to a place where nobody wants to go to do the ministry. And he moved there, being young, with a young wife and young children, and he started to do a great ministry. And actually, what he has done hasn't been done in that area for at least a century. But suddenly, since he was not a citizen of that country, he was stopped by the police. And the police really wanted to know who is helping him, who is behind him, who is supporting him. And they offered him a kind of partnership. He can continue to do what he is doing, but being controlled, and he needs to explain who is behind him, who is helping him. He rejected that offer, refused that offer, and then he got a letter that in 3 days he has to leave the country. It was really difficult for him. If you can imagine that the day after tomorrow, you have to live somewhere else, but not here. That means you have to sell everything. You have to find where to go. So you have to do something that actually changes your life dramatically. And it has a tremendous effect on him. I heard his voice when he was sending his last message from the country, and he was crying and he was asking, Lord, why? I'm so tired. I don't know what's going on. So it was a voice and a speech of the desperate man. His wife, he has gotten heart attack on a plane. But he has a calling. And within 1 month after that moment, in a different country where he moved, he has already started planting the church. This is really something special. I heard many people saying, I have a calling, please help me, then I do it. No, if you have a calling, just do it. Otherwise, it's not a calling. I also want to share something that I learned from the deaf people. People who cannot hear and cannot speak sometimes can tell you more than those who are able to speak and hear. Deaf people, they have nothing in the country where they live in Central Asia, because there is no infrastructure for their education, there is no social support, and the support from the state is minimal, and it's kind of $20-25 a month. But what is more, they're outcast in the society, because according to their Islamic tradition, the blind, limbed, and deaf, they cannot enter heaven, because Allah has cursed them. And since their childhood, those kids, they're hidden somewhere behind in the house, that nobody would see that this family has a deaf child, because it's a shame. And this is a culture of shame and honor. And they live with the understanding that nobody needs them and they have nothing to offer. But when somebody preaches them about Christ and gives them hope that you are really loved and there is a place prepared especially for you in heaven, something has changed in their life forever. And they have this treasure in their heart, and you cannot stop them. They run, they are ready to walk dozens of kilometers because they don't have money to buy any ticket, but they do want to reach other deaf people who are living in the neighboring village and to tell them that there is a hope in life. And when I hear their stories, their testimonies, how many were reached, how many were saved, I really feel that I'm sitting at a business meeting of a very powerful, influential people who have something that really changes the world. So this is a great example of the power of giving something that you have and receiving what you really need instead. This is another story, a special story, that this movement has been started with one family who decided to preach to those who cannot hear. And now the deaf people church is about 3,000 people. And I believe they will not stop, because they have plan to reach every village, every city, every town in their country, because they know what it feels like when you're nobody and you have no hope, and they want to change that. I really would love to say a lot. First of all, I would love to thank everyone who has a burden on that heart for people who are suffering now for the sake of Christ. And I know that many Christians, they're doing a lot by praying, by supporting, by visiting, and I can assure you this work of love brings wonderful fruit in the kingdom of Jesus Christ. And I really want to support you and encourage you. Don't give up, don't stop, continue building up the church, because very soon we all be meeting together at the wonderful feast of Jesus Christ in his kingdom. So let's not miss this opportunity to be there.
Thank you. своим супругом я познакомилась в церкви. Он был пастором. Как бы я уже знала, когда выходила замуж, что я выхожу замуж за служителя. Я понимала, что наша жизнь будет зависеть от воли Божьей. И как бы мой муж, он сказал, куда Господь пошлет нас, мы будем там служить. В прошлом году весной на очередном собрании, когда мы собирались с верующими в воскресенье, пришла полиция. Начали брать у людей объяснительные. И многие люди в тот момент, они просто из-за страха, как бы, очень многие перестали ходить на собрание. В день нас оштрафовали. Там со стороны знают уже, что они не будут приходить. И в тот момент мы очень такое давление переживали. И как бы со стороны власти, и вообще демоническое такое давление было. Супруг, он поехал в город встречаться с братьями верующими, а я осталась дома одна, с детьми. В то время я была в положении, беременна была. Ночью, в 3 часа ночи я проснулась, вокруг был такой шум сильный стоял, как будто люди во дворе ходили. И у меня был страх такой сильный прям. И в тот момент у меня открылось кровотечение. А утром я увидела во дворе мертвую собаку. К обеду меня уже забрали на скорой помощи в больницу. Когда я потеряла ребенка, да, мне было очень тяжело. Я много плакала. Но не знаю, как-то внутри такая сила была. Бог просто как будто вот это все как будто убрал. Не знаю почему, вот все мне говорят, как это произошло, я даже не могу объяснить. Вот такое было чувство. Как бы не было трудно, но Бог, Он всегда приходил через братьев, через сестер, всегда поддерживал нас в молитве и никогда не оставлял. И вот когда осенью я узнала, что я беременна, я обрадовалась. Сейчас уже 21 неделя. Слава Богу, ребенок живой.
My name is Ahmed Aouni.
My name is Jana Hajjer.
I'm Emil Azar from Aleppo, Syria.
My name is Carol Way.
Joseph.
Natalie Nassar.
Peter Isa.
Lita Qawi.
Sylvia Gamal.
Wasim from Iraq.
Fadi Ghanem, I'm from Jordan.
الرب رعي فلا يعوزني شيء.
في مراعي خضر يربضني إلى مياه الراحة يوردني.
He refreshes my soul.
He guides me along the right path. For his name's sake.
حتى إذا اجتزت وادي ظلال الموت.
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
عصاك وعكازك هما يعزيانني.
ترتب قدامي مائدة تجاه مضايقي.
مسحت بالدهن رأسي كأسي ريا.
إنما خير ورحمة يتبعاني كل يوم أيام حياتي.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We are the church.
Vil du stå sammen og gå sammen med din forfulgte familie? Bli med i høstens fakkeltog for forfulgte kristne. Du kan være med og arrangere på ditt hjemsted. Se fakkeltog.no for informasjon og inspirasjon.